going across the country to the Ravens, playing another Harbaugh when they're on a long week and ticked off because they got how they feel robbed by the Chiefs. And the Raiders had just an abysmal offensive performance, only 10 points, a defense that slowed down. And what kind of team would take advantage of a tiring defense better than a Harbaugh team with Derrick Henry? Like, the stage was set for severe disappointment, which is why they were 9-point dogs. And honestly, the game started off the same as last week against the Chargers. The first, 2.5 quarters, it was no offense, defense keeping us in it, but they could only do so much. The rushing game was zero, a complete facepalm interception by Gardner, or turnover by Gardner Minshew. And then I don't know if it was the pep talk we saw Max Crosby give Gardner. I don't know if it was because Getzy finally said, hey, let's just start throwing it to wide open Davante Adams and Brock Bowers. But the passing game took over. We started getting some drives together, and then, of course, gave the defense a chance to rest a little bit, get the 3 and outs, and the sacks we needed in the fourth quarter. And it was just, there was a turn. I know it's only 2, but there was a turning point in that third quarter that felt like could have been a turning point for the season, because it looked like exactly what was going to happen last week was going to happen this week.
RJ, and you talk about turning points. For me, I thought the key moment to keep the spirits up was when Max Crosby went into Gardner Minshew's face and said, hey, shake it off. Don't worry about it after throwing the pick. We got you. We'll get you that ball back. He's the leader of this team. Antonio Pierce said it earlier that he was the best player on the field, or said it after the game, excuse me. How good can this defense be, especially with him as the leader?
I tell you what, man, if I could, I would pay $100 for that audio just so I can have it be my alarm clock in the morning. Because if you get a pep talk from Max Crosby at 5 a.m., you're getting stuff done that day, right? Like, it definitely turned Gardner Minshew around. And you're right. Like, Max Crosby is the heart and soul of that defense. He's the heart and soul of that entire team. No one works harder. He played every single snap. Again, he's so effective. But he's got a lot of help now. Christian Wilkins was a fantastic free signing. He's worth every single dime we're paying him. Robert Spillane is the most productive player on the defense. Max Crosby's the superstar, the best player, et cetera. But no one's more productive than Spillane with that interception, 10 tackles, pass deflects. He's all over the place. Jack Jones with a super key breakup in the fourth quarter to keep it from getting in field goal range on that final drive. The DB stepped up huge. The linebackers played great. I mean, the only knock you can give this defense really is they're not getting a lot of takeaways, right? They got 1 this week, 0 last week. Other than that, they're playing fantastic. If they can stay healthy, this should be a top 10 defense.
We saw the same lackluster effort in the first half in Inglewood in week 1, in Baltimore in week 2. What was different this week that you saw? Why did the offense get better?
I think it was Luke Getsy saying, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy saying, look, he's trying, I get what they're trying to do, and it made perfect sense. You want to run a 1 running back, 2 tight end set, start pushing the run game. When the defense starts playing heavy, you start using, instead of using Brock Bowers or Michael Mayer, the tight ends, as blockers, you use them as receivers. And that was always the plan. The problem is if you can never get the run game going, the defense isn't going to respect your set. They're not going to load the box. They're not going to look at Brock Bowers or Michael Mayer as any important blockers. So we're just going to keep it heavy, right? Or we're going to keep playing the defense we want to play. And at 1.6 yards per carry, you can't blame opposing defenses for not caring about the run. So at some point, Luke Getsy just said, Minshew, we're going air Minshew. Just start swinging the ball. Davante Adams got 12 targets. Brock Bowers got 9. They each got 9 receptions, basically 100 yards for each of them. And that is credit. I think Getsy deserves credit. Gardner Minshew deserves credit, but the most of the credit should go to Davante and Brock Bowers, who just got themselves wide open. I mean, Davante had 2 really bad drops, but other than that, how do you let Davante Adams run free on a field? Like, what are you thinking? How do you let Brock Bowers run free? They just find a way to get open, and all Minshew had to do was find his receiver.
Speaking with RJ Clifford. So, RJ, let me ask you this. Zamir White, okay, last year, plays the last 4 games. I feel there wasn't a lot of pressure on him because Josh Jacobs was still there. So he's just going to go out and do his thing, right? And run. I've been using this phrase for 2 weeks, with a deliberate nature. Now I feel like he is a little apprehensive. Maybe he feels the onus is on him. He's feeling a little bit of pressure. We haven't seen him run like the guy that they drafted, a different regime. I get it, but does he even fit in this offensive scheme?
It's not looking like it so far. And in fairness to him, the offensive line and the run blocking has been abysmal, like absolutely terrible. I think they're 32nd in EPA per rush. They're 32nd in success rate, 31st in yards before first contact per rush. I mean, he is getting zero help, which it should be that big of a surprise, right? Colton Miller was rushed back after shoulder surgery. Jackson Powers-Johnson's our second round guard. He's not ready to play it because of concussion issues. So he's not getting help, one. Two, they went from a gap scheme to a zone scheme, which, Zeus is a power runner, right? He's not a super elusive, find your hole and go. He's like, tell me where to go and I'll blast through it. So he's got some learning to do, and it's a new system. So obviously it's too early to give up on him, but he doesn't have a lot going for him. He's not getting a lot of help, and he's not helping himself.
RJ Clifford is with us. RJ Clifford, MMA, SiriusXM Combat Channel experts. I want to get back to the Raiders in a couple minutes, but let's continue on it for now. Looking ahead, this is a weird spot, and the Raiders are certainly not a team that should be looking ahead to anyone. But the challenge becomes a little different because I think they were going to be fed someone real weak at quarterback or real confused in Bryce Young. I'm going to make the case here that the Panthers are more dangerous with Andy Dalton at quarterback.
Well, Andy Dalton's had the Raiders' number the last 3, 4, 5 times he's played us. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think the Panthers are a mess all over the place, but yeah, I would much rather face a second-year player who looks like a deer with deer in the headlights than a seasoned veteran, and especially one and we see it all the time when veterans come off the bench. You don't have the same tape in that system. You don't have 2 weeks for a defensive coordinator to look at what they're going to do. Obviously, there's a ton of tape on Andy Dalton. He's been in the league forever, but in this specific scheme with these receivers, with this setup, is it going to be a little different? I mean, I don't think anyone's quivering in their boots for Andy Dalton, but I mean, wouldn't it be the most Raider things ever as 9-point dogs to go across the country, knock off the Ravens, and then in the home opener lose to the worst team in football? I mean, that would be the most Raiders thing ever. I'm trying to anti-jinx it, Steve, by saying it out loud. Hopefully it works. I've just been watching this team too long to not be a little nervous that there shouldn't be trap games. You're the Raiders and you're 1-1, but it's trap gamey-esque.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hardest thing for squads that haven't won consistently is to deal with prosperity. And now they look up after an upset win. They're 1-1, and you've got Panthers on the way, Browns on the way, Steelers in the offing who cannot do anything on offense. So they have a chance here if they take care of business to really get out to a good start.
And Broncos before Steelers. I mean, they could be at odds wise. They should probably be 4-1 before they face Pittsburgh.
I talked over you there. Don't say it. They'll have a good record. Don't mention a specific record. You know better.
I know better. But look, you get one great win, and all of a sudden I start thinking Super Bowl. You know me, Steve. I can't help it.
Why not? I think Dana White was thinking Super Bowl with his Sphere show, and the presentation was the Super Bowl. It was freaking awesome. But then he comes out of it, and he's kind of disappointed and lamenting what happened in the last 2 fights. Can I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed the Marab fight against Sean O'Malley because I love grappling and I love strikers who don't train the right way and can't defend the takedown. And Griffin was hanging. Actually, we were here at Ellis Island. I enjoyed every second of that fight. If you can't grapple and you can't wrestle, then you're getting laid on, brother.
There's a reason why there's a wrestling test for every big prospect in mixed martial arts. And you can tell when guys get to avoid it. Alex Pereira has yet to face a wrestler of any caliber. And one, it's because there's not a lot in the weight class. So in fairness there. But two, he's a kickboxer. How's he going to do? The UFC did not match up Sean O'Malley against a single wrestler on his way up until he fought Aljamain Sterling. And I know Aljamain Sterling's a college wrestler, good takedown artist, but even he isn't a blast double leg, take you down the center of the octagon type of wrestler. He's like kick his way in, punch his way in, get a clinch, push you against the cage, and drag you down. You saw that when he fought Henry Cejudo, an Olympic gold medalist wrestler. In the open mat, Cejudo got all the takedowns. Against the cage, Sterling got all the takedowns. And so because of that, O'Malley was able to knock him out. Against Brother Valashvili, O'Malley looks flat. He normally lands roughly like 7 punches per minute. He was landing about just barely over 1 per minute against Davashvili. And Murad's just that animal. Like there are obviously tons of wrestlers in mixed martial arts. No wrestler is like Murad Davashvili, where he doesn't even need the takedown to get you out of your game. All he has to do is shoot takedown because he's relentless. He has cardio for days. He's cockroach. He can't be killed. And he can do that for 25 minutes. And that's what he's able to do against Sean O'Malley. O'Malley's just on his back foot, lost, afraid to throw because he's got this 5'6" Georgian in his grill for 25 minutes.
I loved it so much because it really is the tale of the UFC over the years. And I know it drives Dana White nuts. And he was so mad after Bilal won. And I'm like, you keep booking these fights where a grappler is going to control the fight. There were 2 dudes sitting behind us who got so mad they just started screaming out anti-gay slurs about the style of the fight. And I turned around, I'm like, you guys are some of the most effeminate dudes I've ever seen. I was just laughing like, this is MMA, man. You got to be well-rounded. And then the other one was, well, I'm going to sound like I'm anti-female, and I don't know if it's different, but I know the Shevchenko approach drove Dana White nuts as well because she's better than Grasso at that skill set, and she did what she had to do to win the fight.
Well, look at both these scenarios, right? Like, Valentina Shevchenko, by every possible metric, right? This is a trilogy with Alexa Grasso. In the first and second fights, Valentina Shevchenko, despite going 0-1-1 against Grasso, led in every category. There were 7 rounds that were unanimous. She won 4. She landed something like 8 more significant strikes. Again, this is the first 2 fights. She had 10 minutes more control time. She had 8 takedowns, relinquishing 0. And she still wasn't able to beat Alexa Grasso because she got absolutely robbed with one of the craziest scorecards they ever saw in that draw last time. So she's like, all right, screw you guys. I'm not taking any chances. She can't defend a double leg. She wants to do 1997 jiu-jitsu off of her back and not get up. I'm going to take her down and hold her and win 50-45. I'm not risking another terrible judge's scorecard. And on the flip side, you got Murad Davashvili, who literally had to rack up 11 fight win streak over Olympic gold medalists, Hall of Famers, world-class boxers, title challengers, had to unanimously beat all these guys in a row just for a chance to fight Sean O'Malley. You think he's going to be like, hey, I'm going to start doing some flying knee and spinning back fist to make a show? It's like, no, because if I lose, I'm never getting back here again. I'm going to dance with who brought me here. And he dominated. He absolutely dominated. I can't believe there were 2 48-47 scorecards. I mean, I can see giving O'Malley 5th round. He completely dominated, as he should have. He gave a double bird to everyone else. And this should be a feel-good story. He's the guy that did it the hard way and did it over the teacher's pet, Sean O'Malley. Like this is the feel-good story. Murad Davashvili winning, not Sean O'Malley.
Now, the ultimate feel-good story for Dana White is the setting, the show. It was awesome. I wasn't in the arena. You were around it. On TV. I'm sure it was even better in the arena. It was awesome on TV.
There was one of the moments where I think it was in the pay-per-view, they started doing those 90-second mini films, and you start going from world to world. One of the films, I think it was the second or third one, the one with the marigolds, it starts pushing into the scene, and it kind of stops into this city town square. And I'm not lying to you, Steve. I'm sitting in my chair. I literally lunged forward as if I was in a car approaching a stop sign. My body physically jarred, preparing to stop. It was just that epic. And props to the UFC for taking a risk. If this fell on its face, they would be the laughingstock. You invested $20 million. You're going up against Canelo on Mexican Independence Day weekend. You overstepped your bounds. You got over your skis, and now you got egg on your face. But they didn't. UFC's widely successful, obviously the most popular and profitable combat sport entity in the world. And they're still let's take this risk. Let's try something different. People are mad about going to the Apex. All right, how about this? Let's do something you've never seen before. And they pulled it off. And it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of money. But they pulled it off. They took that risk. And it's like they tell their fighters all the time. You want to be a superstar. You want to be a champion. You want pay-per-view money. You want to be a millionaire. Show up when the lights are the brightest and deliver when everyone's looking. And the UFC held themselves to that standard.
RJ, you're the best, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Monday, okay?
I'll be there. Thanks, guys.
At RJ Clifford MMA, at the Windbags. That's the Autumn Windbags podcast. Very good podcast. If you think we yell at each other, RJ and his partner won, they flip out. It's very entertaining, very informative as well. So we're hanging out at Ellis Island, the front yard. Monday Night Football just kicked off, scoreless 2.5 minutes in. So we're thrilled to be here every Monday. Steve Sear is our guy here.
Yes.
And Steve has put together another stop on the summer tour, Willie.
The 11th annual.
11th annual Bikini Tug of War.
Correct.
By the way, guess who I offered the co-hosting slot to tomorrow?
Who? Oh, are you coming? No. Oh, I mean, it's not really maybe, your thing or anything. It's just
no, I think it is
girls
his thing.
vacation.
He had prior arrangements and he got late notice.
Yeah. All right.
I'm disappointed that you're not going to see this.
By the way, we have history, and he's always been wonderful to me, this guy right here. So just
wonderful to everybody.
And how come you guys don't have any pork bites or at least fried pickles?
Well,
I mean, the food, it's comped.
Well,
I
next break,
will say we're getting food, but last week we ran a live video, and the first thing on the video, you could see Greg Salerno just like eating his burger and fries
while trying to do the show.
We're like, well, you know what happened? We came back from break. I said, hey, you know what? You eat. I have to do something for like 2 minutes, so go ahead. But then it was like, he's got a big face, but he enjoyed it. That burger, the drive-in burger for $7 is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. That's really good.
I like the $30 unlimited beer too during the game.
All you can drink beer is $30. All you can eat food special as well.
By the way, Cofield came and watched the UFC sphere fights here on our 20-foot screen. It looked pretty awesome.
It was dynamite.
Have you talked to people that went? I've got mixed reviews on people that went.
Who didn't like it inside?
I don't know. A couple people, I think it's because the last couple fights weren't. I said, yeah, but Dana can't control that. You control everything. Right. I thought it was cool. I loved the confetti when it looked like it was coming down. I said that was cool. So I think they were just upset because the person they bet didn't win.
Right.
Right.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Because we were by some dudes who got really mad, and I'm like, they clearly bet Sean O'Malley.
Exactly.
And they didn't get the fight they thought they were going to get. So, okay, the Bikini Tug of War, we got at least a half dozen teams.
We do. Randy Couture is the official weigh-in master because girls, teams of 3 girls, you have to be under 400 pounds. This is a sanctioned event. It's not a BS event. I pay $80 a year to be part of the American.
I kept saying it was only $39. I didn't know you paid $80. Wow. Okay.
$80 a year to be part of the American Association of Tug of War.
There'll be officials there.
I'm the official.
He's the official. He's a licensed referee in tug.
Correct.
Will Mark Ratner be there too?
We're going to make a late call to see if Mark can come over.
You mean the commissioner of the Nevada Boxing Commissioner?
He was, sure.
He used to be there, and then he was also the head of the SNOA, which is Southern Nevada Officials Association, and Nevada's official. I mean, every sporting event he's there just to make sure everybody is doing their job.
I mean, tug of war though, and then
showing him
Bikini Tug of War with Mark. I'm not sure.
So anyway, teams of 3 girls, they have to be total team weight under 400 pounds because we did have a year. I don't want to say who, Sin City Roller Girls. We're a little. So now we have to have a weight limit.
Yeah, they were strong.
And I did get a little hate mail about I was fat shaming or something. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to make it fair. So a weigh-in with Randy Couture is between 2 and 3. We start tugging at 3. And so a lot of times then I can't be on the radio, so I'm glad. And Cindy will be there, my co-host. And then you guys can interview Randy. Also got Green Lumber coming, our sponsor.
Yeah, you swear by those guys.
So that's pretty good, yeah. So
why do you swear by that?
Just because it works.
What do you take? Willie's big into the supplements.
Okay, I take the gut relief because I always have. I'm not saying I'm ready to try real dairy again, but my stomach's been better than it's ever been. So I got to say.
I mean, look at this guy.
Then I have Daily Fence. I'm 60.
He's a boxer.
Yeah.
No, but you know how old he is? Look at him.
I'm 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, and
you ever heard of shark cartilage? I take shark cartilage.
You do? Okay.
Maybe Green Lumber has it.
I don't know.
Let's ask
but you'll find out tomorrow. He's a great guy.
I also take kratom. Look that up.
Okay.
Take a look at kratom.
Well, I mean, I got Green Lumber tattooed on my rectum right now. Yeah, just because that's my guy, and he's one of my players. He's a gambler, so.
Live tomorrow, Plaza Pool, 2:00 weigh-in, 3:00 start of the show, and then the tugging begins, and it's free to locals.
Free to locals, a lot of drink specials, and then and the girls really get into it. So right now I've got 5-6 teams. I'd like a couple more. So if there's any singles out there, you can just show up. We weigh in, sign a waiver, and you can tug.
Are we official with the entrance of Palomino?
Palomino is definitely in. I've talked to them twice.
Okay. You know basically worked that deal for you.
Adam Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and
He's
they
very influential.
they acknowledge that.
They
No,
really
no, so Sapphire is in for sure. Crazy Horse 3, Rhino's in for sure. Palomino's in for sure. Buffalo Wild Wings, and so I'd like 7. That's really good. 10's too many, but it's a double elimination, kind of a round robin thing.
Will you make a prediction on the final?
I think Peppermint Hippo is coming to reclaim their crown.
But who's coming? Who else is coming after him?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yep.
What is this new joint? Did you just rattled them all off? But
the one that's called The Strip Club or something.
Do you know the strip club? What's the word I'm looking for? They pilfered, but not pilfered. But they stole. But there's
acquired.
Begins with the
playing a
P.
game now.
They got a lot of the talent from servers to dancers. From Hippo.
Oh, really?
So
it could be a thinner crew.
It's kind of like they went into the portal.
Well, we need
went into the transfer portal.
Well, we need to find a contact because it's not too late. I just need 3 girls under 400 pounds, and they could go.
Hook them up.
I've got trophies, medals. It's all
something
first
tells
class.
me that won't be a problem at the strip club.
I mean, you could have some bitter ex-hippos who want in.
But here's the reason I want more teams is I know you'll find this shocking, but sometimes those teams flake.
Yep.
And I might think I'm going to have 10 and 4 show up or 3 show up. So that's why the more the merrier.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Cofield. I'll be there early.
Steve's going to bed right now.
No.
He's going to bed right now.
No, but it is a more work than you think, but it's fun. You've got the same cabanas last year. So
sweet.
A lot of drink specials.
We'll send it back to the studio. Coming up, Paul Carcaterra, ESPN, was working the sidelines. We'll get his take on UNLV and Kansas.
Traffic is brought to you by Meineke, your one-stop shop for total car care. Trust your keys